been a long time coming. And then, of course, also addressing artists' concerns and other creative concerns. And from the engagements here, we could see that this has been a very fruitful engagement, and this law really will do more good than anything else. We just wanted to clarify on a few clauses. We can start with clause 5, which amends section 13. We felt that if you make this particular provision voidable against the parties, we had a problem with the word voidable. What we were proposing is to say that that shall render the contract unenforceable against third parties, because we still want to maintain that, of course, we know copyright overall is inherent. It does not need to be registered. That says that if you assign license to transfer, if you make it voidable, that may, cause problems or issues with the law. And so our recommendation here is to make that, to that ending part remove voidable and say that it is unenforceable against third parties. Then under clause 6, where we're looking at the amendments to section 13B, where we just want the word shall rather than may, where we are saying that for these culprits who employ or use these technological protection, these circumvention mechanisms, if you're going to imprison them or if they're going to be liable generally, we feel that they should be couched in mandatory terms for the law to compensate these victims. And so rather than saying the court may, we were proposing that we make that clear that the court shall, because we want to make it clear that the victims are the copyright owners or holders, and these are the ones that should get consideration when this matter is prosecuted. Under clause 7, looking at section 14A, we're looking at, this really caused us a bit of division, and I hope my colleagues will be able to share a bit more here. We understand, of course, that we have fair use provisions, and these have been clear in the copyright law, things like educational purposes, scientific purposes, and things of the sort. But now we're introducing a clause where we're saying that we're limiting any reprographic copying to 5%, but we're not clear what amounts to 5%. Does it include the cover pages and the title sections? Is it something quality over quantity? So we need clarity on this, but overall as well, we are worried that perhaps this may also interfere with the fair use provisions. So we feel that we could have regulations that determine the parameter for reprographic copying and also make it clear that this does not prejudice the other rights of, let's say, the disabled or people who may want to access these materials in accordance with amendments actually in this act with the Marrakesh Treaty. And then, of course, also others that also fall squarely within the fair use provisions. We're looking at, let's say, university students, and of course this is something that happens in universities where they may not have funds to be able to get these books, but for education purposes they want to access this material. So if we're limiting them to 5%, are we overhauling our fair use provisions? This requires a bit more discussion, and so we wanted to engage you on that. And then we also feel that any licenses for exploitation of orphan works under section 14B, we are wondering why the minister should be the one to give these licenses, yet we have a registry of copyright. Why not continue to empower the registry of copyright to also handle any matters that require any licensing whenever you're dealing with orphan works? Maybe even to say there's also, we have orphan works, then we also have, what is the term? Anonymous works. We can't understand the difference. They seem to be the same, but the provisions of this particular amendments do not specifically provide any difference between orphan works and anonymous works. So that also needs reconciliation. Under clause 14, that's amend section 46A, we also were a bit divided on the issues of the penalties. We wanted to understand the justification for these penalties, but in particular some of the members felt that these were a bit high, others felt that they were fair. So maybe I'll leave a few of my colleagues here to be able to speak on this as well, what their personal views are on this clause. Same thing with clause 17, looking at the amendment to section 49A. this is good, but we also noticed that under notice and takedown, well, it was hinted on with the previous panel that was here, but this could be a good time to also look at artificial intelligence. That specifically we feel maybe could have its own sub-regulations or something that basically speaks to AI-generated content. I feel rather than waiting for another law to come up, this would be the right law to look at in that regard.
I ask the Honorable Saliva to take charge a few minutes.
Okay.
Proceed.
Okay, so AI-generated content is something that we should look at. We also note that we have this concept of image rights, which really govern the right to publicity, the right to these creatives, artists, most of them who are here, for their image, for them to commercialize their image. At the moment, we don't have any law that regulates image rights. We use common law, we use precedents. Some of the members here have litigated matters here that have set precedent in this area. So this is also just a note to the committee to consider a law on image rights. And either, well, I'm not sure if it can fall within this amendment or this framework, but we can also, I'd like to invite my colleagues here to share something on that. Under clause 20, which amends section 56 for collecting societies, we also note overall that the problem has been that these collecting societies, especially the one for musicians, has had a lot of controversy, and we are not sure if it's actually doing what it's supposed to do, if it will continue to do what it is supposed to do. There were recommendations that perhaps we should have an overall oversight body for these collecting societies, and then we liberalize, have maybe 2 or 3 others that are allowed for the same band of rights, as is the case in other jurisdictions. But many of the members also felt that the market as it is, perhaps that we're not there yet. So this is really just to emphasize that this issue of collecting societies may require a bit more, especially on the side of the regulations, to ensure that they are held to account, and perhaps there is a bit more oversight in that regard, and that could be from the Registry of Copyright to ensure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Overall, those were the clauses that we felt needed to be addressed, and at the end we are saying that what we need to be worried about is over-criminalization, due process violations in content takedowns, business uncertainty in existing contracts, broad liability for intermediaries, and unfunded regulatory powers. So I'll have my colleagues also share a few things in support, or if they want anything to add.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahanji. Once again, good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I just have a comment on the recommendations we made regarding image rights. Like rightly pointed out.
That's on page what? You take us to the page.
Page 6. It runs from
page 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
The recommendation under page 6. Like rightly pointed out, in practice, image rights has been purely a concept of common law, purely case law. The only legislation that comes closer to that, there are 2 laws. The Data DPA Protection Act. The other is the National Sports Act, CAP 151. With the data protection law, it's just general, but once it becomes contractual, it's out of the legal regime of data protection law. So what is common within the creative industry? It's either contractual or by way of endorsements, even in absence of contracts. So the challenges we've seen is that courts have adopted common law principles, which at times the creatives or the owners of those images feel that the compensation is not fair, the perimeters are purely common law principles. So whereas we recommended that either this should be a chance or an opportunity to have this concept of image rights legislated, because it's nearer to IP rights. At least we've had an opportunity whereby the National Sports Act has legislated on this, where actually for it is specific that subject to any arrangement, the image rights will belong to the players, then later the federation or the team and otherwise. So since it is the case in other legislations, it's more prevalent, or abuse of image rights is very common in this space of the creatives. And we propose that Parliament reconsiders this bill and either they incorporate provisions on image rights, then further probably the regulations that shall be made thereafter on how some of these principles can be implemented regarding exploitation, both contractual and or random usage of anyone's image. But like Mr. Mahanja has rightly stated, image rights concept goes beyond just the image, the voice recognition, identity, and all that. So we missed that opportunity in the late Nasa Sevagala's case, and I think the creatives will agree with us that this is an area that needs to be legislated upon. Thank you.
Also, overall, what would also like to say or to add is what Uganda National Musicians Association mentioned, the issue of sensitization. I think that is very key. I think that's why they were saying that the old copyright law was not, did not really help them. I think it only helped those ones who knew about it and who actually went ahead to try to enforce it. So as Uganda Law Society, we are available. We do carry out trainings and sensitization, and we feel that this would be an area where, if we're working with the government of Uganda to see how we can be able to sensitize our clients and the public on any issues that relate to copyright and relate to intellectual property generally. Many thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Uganda Law Society, for your views. I want to ask on the issue of image rights. I think you would do us good if, for example, you came with some specific legislative proposals. Okay? When you look at this bill, you could guide. And so maybe after clause 6, we propose to insert a new clause on image rights to say the following. Okay? Then as a committee, we'll be able to benefit from your knowledge and expertise in that area. And I think that's a matter that can rightly be housed under this bill. So I want to further request that you could think along those lines and team up with our clerk and have those views. We will definitely benefit from that. Secondly, I would do, there are issues that I wanted you to specifically comment on. Incidentally, they are not in your presentation, but I wanted to benefit from your knowledge and expertise, because we've been interacting with these people, and for them, they are the practitioners. But this practice must be embedded under a legal framework. There's no doubt about it. And they may not easily appreciate it. So that's why I was very much interested in seeing some of the issues. For example, you were here and we were talking about the issue of reversion of copyright. For them, they are saying the provision should be abolished. There should be no reversion of copyright. because the bill proposes 20 years, okay? And they are saying, no, it should be open-ended. Why do we cap it to 20 years? I see in your presentation on page 3, the right of reversion after 20 years is one of the positive areas that you have highlighted. In other words, you agree with it. The sentiments on their part seems to be, different. And now, secondly, on the issue of, on page 4 of 7, where you propose to clause 6, that is amending section 13B, technological protection measure, okay? And you have the opinion that we remove may and use shall because of the nature of the offense. Don't you think you are taking away discretion from this judicial officer? Don't you think there are circumstances where a judicial officer might feel that the punishment already provided for could be sufficient enough that adding the idea of compensation may be cumbersome? Those are my thoughts. Do you think really you would want to take away that discretion? Then you are talking about empowering the on page 5 of 7. Page 5 of 7, and you're saying in all instances where functions are vested in a minister, the law should equally empower the register of copyright to act. Okay? We've interacted with the minister as a committee, and the minister is concerned that you want the minister to oversee a secret levy. They are saying that, you see, there is a lot of infringement. There's a lot of infringement that is happening on computers, laptops, phones, and tracking and enforcing becomes extremely difficult. They're saying at the level of importation, all these gadgets that are capable of transmitting music and the like, or the plays and all these creatives, there should be a levy on every product imported. And that levy goes direct to a copyright fund, which will go to support the industry. That would be the only way of benefiting. You were even challenging us the other day that all of you MPs have phones. If you are bored, you just go there and begin playing our music, and you go away. So what do we do? Obviously, I'll tell you at a political level, none of us here can commit suicide because that would be another tax on the wananchi, another burden on the taxpayer. But they were passionately saying that would be the best way in which we can benefit from our efforts. So maybe it is something you would perhaps consider and guide the committee at a technical level from your part, and it's something they are so passionate about. Then the other thing, the government policy currently is on rationalization. All government agencies and departments are being merged, are being abolished. And they are saying that it would do good to have something like a copyright authority, or copyright commission, or agency beyond the existing just registry under URSB. And they're saying that the moment you create a mayor registry, you are, you know, Haji Naduli would say, if you wanted to say you are undermining the matter, he would say you are smallizing the matter. Saying that if you just use a registry, you are smallizing issues of copyright. And for them, they are of the opinion that at least there should be an agency, an authority. But that is obviously government policies shifting away from authorities, you know, commissions and agencies. They are into merging because of rationalization for the reasons that they have given. I don't know what your view would be. Now, sensitization is not purely a legislative issue, as you are aware. It's not a legislative issue. It is legitimate, but not legislative. We can only, by way of obiter, in making our report to Parliament, by way of obiter, raise it, but it's not legislative. These are things that will come through policy and budgetary issues. Budgets that emanate from line ministries will look at these issues, but it's an issue that has come out through you, and those that appeared before us, we will note it, and by way of obiter, we'll have to put it in the report. So I want to welcome my colleagues. They have comments to raise them.
You know, once a chair, you have a right to summarize everything, because today, Honorable Chair, I have acted as a lecturer. This, I think, you are in the area. So thank you, Honorable Chair, and Uganda Law Society. Most of the items wanted to highlight, and you have at least articulated on them. And yes, yeah. No, Chair, I have no problem because seniority matters in both here as a legislator and in the legal. So now, Chair, through you, the Uganda Law Society, most of the insights have been circling on image rights. I think you have guided us well on that. So they go back and at least they come up with something which we can just use as a component to see how it can appear in its legal way. And on the issue of capacity building, Uganda Law Society, I think we should be even the ones now decide asking so far, because you can many activities of Uganda Law Society should be at least the public. You be now the one to take charge, but when you now throw that to our side, because no political wing is ever burdened. Everyone who is in this side is a politician. They have not, but you also on your side, we want to thank you from today in a humble prayer that it is your cardinal role also Ugandans to know the issues relating to law, because being Uganda Law Society, so you'll just help us do that part. For us, our role is to just throw that side and you move. So that item you need also to mass it from today from us in good faith, because you are all Ugandans. The last one I want to urge on the issue of the punishment. You have said it's so harsh. So, being a civil issue in copyright, when it is harsh towards the benefit, because I know we are legislating for the consumers to take. So if we make it light towards the benefit, when we make it harsh towards the benefit, we need to share that and we come up with an appropriate something, because someone has been infringed on. And I think to deter other people to continue making it to be proper, to set something where someone can feel that at least this. So because when it is so small, to me I think it will give in a chance to people to just continue. After all, it is like now, you know, this marriage where anniversary cannot be part. So to infringe on someone whose wife, you know, it comes cheaper, because you know it is only some little money. So you can easily just take it as an option that I have my 200 or 700, so let me go. So that one I think we need also to see how to balance. So if it is high, to his benefit. If it's small, to his benefit. That one is what I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you. We were joined by a member. I want the member to go on record first before you can respond.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies, I had prior engagement. I'm a Chair Juliet Lodo, Member of Parliament for Ngora County, and a member of this committee. Like my other colleague had alluded earlier, Chair has actually summarized everything, despite my being late. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Honorable Secretary.
There is 6 of page 7. There is an any bit there. So where there remains a need for further discussion on the effectiveness. So I need to be guided more on that.
Which page, sorry?
Page 6 of 7.
Okay.
The last words
Okay.
of clause 6. So that one I need to be guided on that.
Okay.
And further to that, Uganda Law Society, when you are making presentations here in future, don't leave proposals hanging, because you see, we may not do much at our level. Eh? We're almost the tail end. Okay. I would prefer that next time you make our work easier. Now, like Honorable Secretary for the matter is raising, if you are saying there remains a need for further discussion on effectiveness of which currently appear to be not functioning optimally, what is your view? How do you want this to be structured? Okay? Because as a committee procedurally, as a committee, we also make proposals for amendment to the bill. This is a government bill. So the committee will say, we propose to amend, to insert, okay? But those proposals usually emanate from engagements that we have with you. So in future, you help the committee and structure your proposals into real legislative insertions that we can make in this bill. That's why Honorable Secretary is asking for more specifics. Yeah. That's why I raised the issue earlier on image rights. Yeah. The floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much for this and for that guidance.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hello Uganda and beyond. Welcome to UBC Lunchtime News. I am Brian Tumwine Biarhanga. Members of Parliament have paid tribute to the late former Minister of General Duties and Woman Member of Parliament, Mary Karooro as a person who created a unique legacy of no corruption, championed the women's cause, was intelligent and advised selflessly. She will also be remembered for her distinctive writing and contribution in enacting the Children's Act of 2015. Nafka Farida starts us off with UBC Lunchtime News.
Sad, and sad indeed, to learn of the traumatizing loss of Honorable Maria, as we fondly referred to her. It's one of the personalities, distinguished writers that Uganda has ever had. And she was a dedicated politician who left a legacy of no corruption. She was straightforward. I can't trace in my imagination of any trace of any corruption scandals attached to her name.
One person that we've kept in touch with, she was trying to put up a factory to make sanitary pads in her district in Bushenyi, and every time she updated me about the challenges that she was actually facing, and she needed support to have that factory running. Every time I moved a motion or I spoke about the women and girls, she would send me a message. And this clearly showed her passion and support for the women and the girls of this.
Also so devastating. She was such a nice person. A nice person we worked with very well, very helpful, very loving, very supportive. It's a big loss.
Her work as a member of parliament, she was excellent. As a minister, she was really out to serve her people. I worked with her personally as a member of parliament and also as a colleague in cabinet. You would envy her approach to issues. It's unfortunate that she has not lived for the time that one would have imagined that she lives.
To us individually, saying you people, let's come up with a law that is in the interest of Ugandans. We finally sat with her, processed this law, but she was a mother who would say, you people, help me and drive this law forward. We are happy that the Children's Act of 2015 is in place, courtesy of us and her. She really took lead. She managed to convince us to agree with her on most of the clauses that were proposing in this law, and we worked diligently together. As NRM, she was a staunch mobilizer.
Sad news there for the late Mary Karooro Okrut. Now, the demise of former Minister of General Duties in the office of the Prime Minister, Mary Karooro Okrut, has left many NRM members in shock as they describe her as one of the best committed and hard-working leaders the party has ever had. The NRM members described Karooro as the corrupt-free person that many members should emulate from. Let's see the details of that report.
For cabinet, in charge of gender, Honorable Karooro Okrut mentored very many young people, including me myself. She was always emphasizing on humility and integrity, always calling upon young leaders not to love money, the spirit of volunteerism. You have never seen, we didn't see the late Honorable Okrut being summoned by the Anti-Corruption Court. We didn't see the late Honorable grabbing somebody's land. We didn't see.
In the same parliament with Honorable Karooro Okrut, she was motherly, she was our mentor, and she was also intelligent because she basically would talk and she was calm. Even when she was debating in the parliament, you would see a calm person. So personally, I feel I've lost someone because Honorable Karooro used to send me to her home to clear up when they have functions because she's married in my district, in Ngora. And definitely,
Viewers, we do apologize for that technical glitch, but we are still talking the death of Mary Karooro Okrot. NRM supporters in Kassanda district are unhappy over the delayed release of findings from investigations into the party primary elections for the Kassanda South parliamentary flag bearer. Now, the group invited one of the aspirants, Area Mobidu, to address them on the way forward as they demanded fairness in the process. Let's see the details of that report.
In last month's primaries, 5 candidates contested for the NRM flag in Kassanda South. The NRM election officer in Kassanda, Henry Lukondo, announced the results, declaring Abdu Bisaso winner.
Kassanda South, funye okweraliikirira eri obuwanguzi obwayogerwa mbu basiba eyali akulira ebyokulonda mu Kassanda South ng'avunaanibwa omusango ogw'okulangirira Bisaso nga teyayitamu ate n'aleka Eriya Mubiru eyawangula. Nate kitonyamiza okuseera mu kaseera nga kano ng'ate mukama waffe Eriya Mubiru tannakwasibwa kaadi ng'ebintu bizeemu tulaba bizeemu obukuusa.
However, supporters disputed the outcome and lodged a petition to a special committee set up to review the matter. The supporters on Monday marched peacefully along the Mbende Road before welcoming Mubiru and escorting him to Chakatebe grounds in Narutuntu sub-county, where they held a rally.
Temukowa kukola ki kugumiikiriza akalula kagenda mu parliament ka January si ka mugwa 8 si gwa mugwa 9 si gwa mugwa 10 ekizibu kyokka kye batukoze nti batulemeseza okutandika okukolera abantu ebintu bye twali badde tubakolera.
They appealed to President Yoweri Museveni to intervene, warning that failure to resolve the dispute could give the opposition an advantage in the area.
As part of their corporate social responsibility, the Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers has commissioned and handed over clean water and sanitation facilities worth 300 billion shillings to Karooro High School in Kampala. The facilities were commissioned by the association's Secretary General Engineer Alan Muhomoza during the ceremony at the school. Let's see the details of that report.
The Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers, in partnership with other development organizations, says it is committed to supporting schools with safe water and improved sanitation to address water scarcity and prevent disease outbreaks.
Congratulations to you. We are aware of the water challenges that you've been facing, and we are grateful for the milestone that we have achieved today. Congratulations. What I want to promise you is we've seen a lot of needs, and we promise to rally more partnership with us so that we can always come in to make your lives better.
Speaking at the event, Engineer Muhomoza said the initiative is aimed at inspiring learners who represent the next generation of engineers in Uganda. Karooro High School headmistress Hajat Amina Mukasa Buyinza applauded the engineers for the support, but noted that despite the school's growing population, now at 6,000 students, it still faces challenges, including the lack of inclusive toilets for learners with disabilities and insufficient water access.
We moved around. You've given us a single tap, not so? And given the numbers, this is half my school here. So given the numbers, we need more taps. So you can imagine one tap serving all this land.
The school's Board of Governors chairperson, retired judicial officer Jolly Shonge Kole, also expressed gratitude for the engineers' continued support. She commended the provision of sanitary towels, which she described as vital for the girl child, alongside the clean water facilities.
Prepared and packed by engineers. We are very grateful for their work done by all the engineers that put their hands together and developed an idea through consultation and gave us clean water. We are very grateful. We are also grateful that you are so parental.
The Secretary General, Uganda Association of Consulting Engineers, says the gesture is part of the corporate social responsibility to the learners and the general public. Engineer Muhumuza was officiating at the commissioning and handling over 300 million shillings clean water and sanitation facilities to Kololo High School in Kampala.
Acholi sub-region delegates have promised to stand behind the candidates of King Caesar Augustus Mulenga ahead of the coming Central Executive Committee elections. Caesar met delegates from the district of Acholi region in Kitgum district. Let's see the details.
King Caesar Augustus Mulenga has interacted with NRM delegates from East and West Acholi sub-region. As he continues to campaign in northern Uganda, Caesar has convened a Acholi delegates meeting in Kitgum district. The Kitgum reception was eye-catching. These delegates are representatives of Entrepreneurs League in their respective districts.
I come here for support King.
These districts include Kitgum, Lamu, Padel, Agago, Nwoya, Gulu City, Gulu District, among others.
And I beg you, please look into these people's lives. These are your voters.
Without any hesitation, the delegates have unanimously endorsed Mulenga Caesar for SEC Entrepreneurs League.
I chose to support King Caesar. First of all, I'm a first timer in Entrepreneurship League.
I'm supporting King Caesar because we expect things to be done differently.
The entrepreneurs body say without resources, nothing much can be achieved, and therefore they are ready to support someone who can rescue them.
So by now we are looking forward to get someone who can support us up to the level where we cannot even know.
We need cash. We need what? Cash.
To others, they will support a leader who is accountable and competent.
Support one who is dedicated to change the life of the business fraternity of Uganda.
Some say they are keenly assessing all the contestants, and so far King Caesar Augustus Mulenga leads the column.
A person will come back to us, a person who will support us.
King is a transparent person, is a God-lovely person, someone who understands what business is.
If the whole of our woman MP, a minister in this government, the one who knows Uganda well, is saying, let us go decide. Shall we defy our order? No.
If voted, Caesar has promised service above self.
I know he has the good plans, and he's dedicated to his work.
We must make what? We must make what? And our people should be happy.
However, although he is campaigning for himself, Caesar doesn't forget his master, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
A special request, ask you that with all the things we are doing, we do it because of one man who brought peace to this country. When his day reaches of the vote is 100.
Just like it was during the arrival, the departure was equally colorful. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Thank you, Robert Onyango, for that. And now from Kitgum, UBC Lunchtime News takes a short break, and we do return with more stories.
Big thing about the MTN Super. Wali yakapia musite wali yakapia. MTN kabo de super mustairompia. Then you kabo de smartphone nebi yakabibiona. MTN kabo de super mustairompia.
the new Kabode Super smartphone and enjoy 16 GB free. Start with a deposit of only 45,000 Uganda shillings and pay the rest mpora in daily installments of less than 1K. You can also make weekly and monthly installments. Together, our vibes are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN.
MTN is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll free 0800 335